Hey, welcome back to Get Down to Business. Joining us today is a retired U.S. Marine Corps colonel and decorated aviator who has spent over 25 years leading in some of the most demanding environments on the planet. Joined by Ryan Cherry, who has led helicopter squadrons in the Indo-Pacific and advised top Department of Defense leaders on crisis response and autonomous aviation strategy. Today, he's a sought-after executive coach and speaker and the author of the new book, Readback, a Marine Aviator's Manual for Navigating Life's Hardest Lessons. Ryan believes that the same principles of courage, discipline, and teamwork required in the cockpit of a Cobra helicopter are exactly what leaders need to navigate today's business challenges. He's here to help us lead better, live sharper, and grow through adversity. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
That's a great introduction. I'm really happy to be here.
Absolutely. Well, Colonel, you've spent 25 years at the controls of an AH-1 Cobra. What's the most important checklist item from the cockpit that every small business owner should run through before they start their workday?
Well, I've been accused multiple times in my career of having a checklist running through my head for everything I do. And I think it's important, not just a checklist of what's happening in a Cobra helicopter, but to come prepared and be ready to think through what processes need to happen, have those locked down so you can free up the rest of your brain to think through the harder problems, the things that are not the automatic checklist items. So you're able to accomplish your tasks that are mandatory easily and able to think through the harder challenges that you're not expecting.
Yes, that's something that's relevant for all of us, which is awesome. In your book, you talk about readbacks. For those of us who aren't pilots, in fact, I do the opposite. I'm a paratrooper. I jump out of the aircraft. Why is the readback the most critical communication tool for ensuring a team doesn't crash during a complex project?
Yes, that's a great question. So there's really three layers to readback for me. First off, as a Cobra helicopter pilot, most of what I did in my combat days was close air support. So you're in close proximity to friendly force on the ground, and you're providing lethal fires for them to keep them alive or allow them to accomplish their mission. So one of the things we get from the Marines on the ground or soldiers or anybody who we're supporting is an attack brief. It's called a 9-line. And part of that process is they give you certain pieces of information that are all standardized so it can go quickly. But the aviators, before they're cleared to deliver their fires, need to give a mandatory readback. And there's certain information that is critical to ensure that you know where the friendly forces are and that your fires are delivered on the enemy and not on the friendly position. So the mandatory readback is a portion of why this book is named Readback. And also as a staff officer, there's times when you're in a room with a senior leader, it could be a colonel, it could be a general officer, and sometimes a conversation will meander. And what you thought your task was may no longer be your task. So a technique that I've used and many other have used is to ask your boss if you can read back what it is you think they told you to do. And that allows to streamline the process, and it could provide smoother staff work, or it could save lives because what you're doing is really important. And the third part of it would be the read back from my career and the lessons I've learned.
I love that. That's fascinating and so practical for all of us. You emphasize the importance of looking into the unique talents of a team. When you were commanding a helicopter squadron, how did you balance the need for rigid military standardization with the need to let an individual's unique strengths flourish?
So although there are standardized things that we do, there's many ways to solve a problem. And what I tell my teams is, I'm very decisive and I come up with a solution to a problem inside my head very quickly. But when surrounded by a team of experts and people who are maybe more talented than you, even though they may be junior than you in an organization, they may have a better way to solve a problem than you do. And so coming into a challenge where you're bringing the team together to come up with a solution, whether it's delivering fires or just the mundane aspects of running an organization, allowing them to propose ways to solve problems may give you a better solution than you know from your experience. So I often would be very quiet at the beginning of a conversation trying to solve a problem because I didn't want to steer the solution in my direction. I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to provide their solutions. And if it was good enough, we went that route and I didn't have to give my version. And if mine still was going to be the way to go, then we'd carry out my plan. But certainly allowing subordinate leaders to lead from their positions lets them grow and makes your organization better because they may have better solutions than you do.
We often talk here on Get Down to Business about the reservoir, the internal state of the leader. You've been in the heat of combat. How do you maintain an even keel in the face of chaos when your personal reservoir of energy is hitting zero?
So that's a real hard one. Coming into as I grew up in the Marine Corps and came into a field grade officer position, or really when I became a lieutenant colonel and commanded a squadron, there was a very deliberate process I went through leading into taking command, and a very cognizant thought process I went through when anything happened that was out of the ordinary or emergency happened. If I was surprised by information, I ensured that I didn't allow the look on my face to change. I wouldn't run down a hallway. I wouldn't snatch a radio out of the hand of my operations duty officer to try to take control right away. I needed to maintain a certain calm, because if the senior leader is reacting negatively or lashing out, oftentimes that will move across the rest of the unit, and then you end up making mistakes. So I wasn't methodical. I didn't delay responses, but I made sure that I didn't show emotion in a way that would create others to react negatively.
You've mentioned, and I've read that you've talked about understanding a competitor's worldview is a competitive edge. So how can a business owner practically get inside of the head of their competition without losing focus on their own mission?
Well, so the term I use is walk around the fighting hole, which was given to me by one of my bosses, but it's for business, it's for the military, and it's for life. To walk around a fighting hole and observe your position from all angles, and look through the eyes of the enemy, look through the eyes of a competitor or a family member in what they believe. So if you can take the time to see things from all perspectives, you can either strengthen your position or change your position, because maybe you're in the wrong. And that allows you to have a holistic view of the world in any phase of life.
You talk about humility. What does humility look like for a Marine colonel, and why is it a necessary ingredient for high-stakes decision-making in the C-suite?
Well, so I think humility is important at all levels, but certainly being able to understand that you don't know all of the answers, and that you need a team of people at times to rally around you, and also to have humility, because what plan you come up with for your senior leaders may not be what serves them, and may turn you back around again and make you go back to the planning for whatever it is that the challenge is in front of you. So there's a term I use in my book called circling the bowl, where you're slowly moving towards a solution, but sometimes the guidance you're given is painful. And if you can't take that and move forward with humility, you find yourself getting really frustrated, and then delays the process for any sort of real solutions.
Ryan, you advocate for taking challenges one small step at a time to build strength. How do you prevent a team from losing sight of the big picture mission while they're focused on those tiny incremental goals?
So I think that's a really good question. For me, you have a desired end state, you have a commander's intent, and you're always moving towards whatever the end state is for the big blue arrow of the mission or the planning evolution. So you need to keep your eye on the prize. In a work sense, with a team, you have steps that get you to the end state. You have different phases you may go through. But really, as far as breaking down into small pieces, my focus was more on when you're in a really bad spot in life, whether you may deploy to combat or you're in a challenging position with your family. Sometimes life seems too big and you can't get to the end of the story. And if you can break things down into small pieces, whether it's a couple hours, a couple minutes, or a day at a time, it allows you to accomplish big things one step at a time, and find yourself at the desired location you want to be in life without looking at it like you're climbing a mountain.
Ryan, finally, if a leader is currently feeling like they are in a tailspin in their business, what's the first readback lesson they should apply to regain control of the aircraft?
Well, so I think you go back to the basics. You go back to what you know that got you to where you are, and you reassess what's happening. You identify, is the position or the place that your business is going the right place? Bring a team of experts around you, and take a knee to figure out if you're heading in the right direction. And if you are heading in the right direction, then identify those steps you need to take to go from the tailspin into a direction that's going to achieve the desires you want in your business.
Amazing, right? I want to give the final word over to you. The book is fascinating. And again, Readback has lessons that are applicable for every entrepreneur tuning in and really anybody who wants to take some lessons from your 25 plus year career. How can we find the book and how can we get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So Readback will officially launch on May 5th. It is open for pre-orders on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Amplify Publishing Group are the websites you can go to find Readback. And then if you're looking for me, my website is ryanacherry.com. And that'll get you a look at my book and everything else I have going on. As of the pre-orders are available. And then once May 5th hits, it launches and we're live with Readback. And I'm really excited.
I'm excited too. Well, congratulations on all of that. And thank you so much for giving us a sneak peek over here. Again, some great lessons from your career in the Marine Corps and so much more. And that's a wrap for us this week on the show, all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Thanks for tuning in to Get Down to Business. As always, we pack a lot into our 1 hour program. You can, of course, go on your favorite podcast app, just search for Get Down to Business, subscribe, rate, review, and share so you don't miss a single episode. And get in touch with me on my website, syklein.com. Click the contact page. I love to hear from our listeners. We'd love to hear what you'd like to focus on. But this week, we've packed a lot in, and we'll link to all of our guests in the show notes. So to success, let's get down to business. We'll see you next week.